The 2025 inauguration of Donald Trump marked a significant shift in American politics. Republicans, after years of divided government, secured a firm grip on the levers of power. They controlled the White House. They held both chambers of Congress. This trifecta presented an opportunity, a chance to enact their agenda with minimal obstruction. This control, however, came with an unspoken caveat: time. History has shown that maintaining unified government beyond a president's first midterm election is a Herculean task. Not since 1978 has a president managed to keep both chambers of Congress under their party's control after a midterm. The clock was ticking. The weight of this historical trend was not lost on the GOP. Experienced strategists like Susie Wiles, Trump's incoming chief of staff, recognized the narrow window. 2 years. 2 years to deliver on promises made, to solidify their vision for America. The pressure was on. The 2025 Republican victory was not a landslide. Their majority in the House of Representatives was slim. The Senate, while in their favor, still held a significant number of Democrats. This precarious balance added another layer of complexity to their pursuit of unified action. Since 1978, the American political landscape has been defined by a recurring pattern: unified government followed by a midterm reset. 5 presidents, Clinton, Bush, Obama, Trump, and Biden, entered their first midterm elections with control of both the House and the Senate. All 5 emerged from those elections with at least one chamber of Congress in the hands of the opposing party. This trend, while seemingly consistent, does not represent the entirety of American political history. The 20th century, particularly the decades following the Great Depression and World War II, saw longer stretches of unified government. Presidents like Franklin D. Roosevelt and Lyndon B. Johnson enjoyed extended periods with their party in control of both Congress and the White House. These eras were marked by significant legislative achievements, from the New Deal to the Great Society. The question arises, why the shift? Why has unified government become such a fleeting phenomenon in recent decades? The answer, it seems, lies in a confluence of factors, from evolving voter behavior to increasing political polarization. The historical context is crucial. It highlights the unique challenges facing the 2025 Republican majority. The 2-year window they inherited was not an anomaly. It was, in many ways, the norm. The question was not if they could defy history, but how they would choose to navigate the constraints it imposed. The ephemeral nature of unified government in recent decades has had a profound impact on the legislative process. This fleeting control often means that the party in power has a limited window to enact its agenda, creating a sense of urgency that permeates the halls of Congress. With the clock ticking, the party in power often feels compelled to prioritize speed over deliberation, pushing through legislation at a breakneck pace. This rush can sometimes lead to hasty decisions and overlooked details. The goal is to push through their agenda before the potential midterm reset, where the balance of power could shift dramatically. This urgency is not just about passing laws but also about securing a legacy and delivering on campaign promises. This sense of urgency has manifested in a reliance on legislative tools designed to circumvent the need for bipartisan support. These tools, while effective in the short term, can have long-term implications for the legislative process. Reconciliation, a budgetary process that allows certain bills to pass the Senate with a simple majority, has become a weapon of choice for both Democrats and Republicans seeking to enact sweeping policy changes with limited time and cooperation. This process, while expedient, often bypasses the traditional checks and balances of the legislative process. The Tax Cuts and Jobs Act of 2017, passed during a period of Republican unified control under President Trump, serves as a prime example. This significant piece of legislation was pushed through with minimal input from the opposition. This legislation, a cornerstone of the GOP's economic agenda, was pushed through Congress using the reconciliation process, bypassing the need for Democratic votes in the Senate. This method, while effective, often leaves the opposition feeling sidelined and can lead to further political polarization. While this maneuver ensured the bill's passage, it also fueled accusations of partisan overreach and contributed to the already deepening political divide. The lack of bipartisan support can make such legislation more vulnerable to future reversals. The pressure to act quickly under unified government can also lead to unintended consequences. Legislation crafted in haste, without the benefit of thorough scrutiny and debate, can contain flaws or loopholes that become apparent only after its implementation, leading to potential issues down the line. Legislation crafted in haste, without the benefit of thorough scrutiny and debate, can contain flaws or loopholes that become apparent only after its implementation. These flaws can undermine the effectiveness of the legislation and lead to calls for revisions or repeals. Furthermore, the lack of bipartisan buy-in can make it more difficult to build consensus around policy solutions, leading to a cycle of legislative reversals and instability. This instability can erode public trust in the legislative process and make it harder to achieve long-term policy goals. Section 4. Dwindling Returns. The Erosion of Bipartisanship. The shrinking window of unified government has not only impacted the mechanics of policymaking, but also the very spirit of bipartisanship in Washington. The days when both parties would come together to pass significant legislation seem like a distant memory. As the two major parties have drifted further apart ideologically, the incentives for cooperation have dwindled. The ideological chasm has grown so wide that finding common ground feels almost impossible. For the minority party, the prospect of regaining control in the next midterm election can make compromise seem like a fool's errand. They often prefer to block the majority's initiatives, hoping to gain political advantage. Why hand your opponents a legislative victory when you can simply wait them out, obstruct their agenda, and campaign on a platform of change? This strategy has become a common playbook in modern politics. This calculus, while perhaps politically savvy, does little to foster a spirit of collaboration or address the nation's pressing challenges. Important issues remain unresolved, and the public grows increasingly frustrated. On the other side of the aisle, the majority party, acutely aware of the ticking clock, may be less inclined to seek common ground with their opponents. They feel the pressure to deliver results quickly. With a limited window to enact their agenda, they may view compromise as an unnecessary concession that could jeopardize their ability to deliver on their promises to voters. This urgency often leads to rushed and partisan legislation. The erosion of bipartisanship is not solely a product of strategic calculations. It is also a reflection of the changing nature of American politics and society. It also reflects a deeper societal trend, the increasing polarization of the American public. As citizens become more divided, so too do their representatives. As citizens have retreated into their respective ideological echo chambers, their elected representatives have followed suit, making it more difficult to forge the kind of compromises that were once commonplace in Washington. The result is a political landscape where gridlock and partisanship are the norms rather than the exceptions. Section 5. Two sides of the aisle: congressional behavior under pressure. The pressure cooker of unified government, with its limited time frame and high stakes, has a distinct impact on the behavior of both the majority and minority parties in Congress. The atmosphere is often charged, with every decision scrutinized and every move calculated for maximum impact. For the party in control, the prevailing sentiment is one of urgency, a need to capitalize on the opportunity to advance their agenda before the inevitable midterm challenge. This sense of urgency can lead to a frenetic pace, with leaders pushing for swift action on key legislative priorities. This often translates into a more top-down approach to leadership, with increased party discipline and a focus on passing legislation that aligns with the president's priorities. The leadership exerts significant control over the legislative process, often sidelining dissenting voices within their own ranks. The minority party, on the other hand, often finds itself in a reactive mode. Their primary goal becomes to challenge and scrutinize the majority's actions, seeking to highlight flaws and rally public opinion against the ruling party's agenda. With their ability to shape legislation severely curtailed, they may resort to procedural tactics designed to slow down or obstruct the majority's agenda. These tactics can include filibusters, extended debates, and other parliamentary maneuvers aimed at delaying legislative progress. This can include everything from extended debates and filibusters to leveraging committee assignments to stall progress on bills. The minority party's strategy often hinges on creating roadblocks and forcing the majority to negotiate or make concessions. The dynamics of unified government can also influence the career trajectories of individual lawmakers. Ambitious politicians may see opportunities for advancement, while others may reconsider their future in light of the shifting political landscape. For senior members of the minority party, the prospect of a quick return to the majority can discourage retirements. They may choose to stay on anticipating a shift in power that could restore their influence and authority. Why relinquish a position of power when you might soon find yourself back in the driver's seat? This anticipation of a power shift can lead to a more experienced, albeit potentially more entrenched, group of lawmakers leading the opposition. This can lead to a more experienced, albeit potentially more entrenched, group of lawmakers leading the opposition. Their deep knowledge of the legislative process and institutional memory can be both an asset and a hindrance depending on the political climate. The behavior of both parties under unified government highlights the inherent tension between the ideals of a deliberative democracy and the realities of a political system increasingly driven by partisan competition and the pursuit of power. This tension is a defining feature of modern American politics. The need to balance these competing forces remains one of the most enduring challenges facing American governance. Navigating this complex landscape requires skill, strategy, and a deep understanding of both the political and legislative arenas. Stay informed and engaged with the latest political news. Subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell to stay updated on all the critical developments in American politics.